Beit Midrash for even 1 hour. That this day that we let everybody in and we asked, you teach me your Torah, and you teach me your Torah, and you teach me your Torah, they solved everything. They fixed all the problems when they let more people in. And even Rabban Gamliel came back and participated in this. As we learned in the Mishnah, so we learned in a story that starts on that day. What day are we talking about? That day. This very important day. Yehuda, the Ammonite convert, came before the students in the Beit Midrash, and he said to him, what is my status to come into the community? Which is another rabbinic euphemism for marry a Jewish woman. He's a convert from a country called Ammon, where there's a statement in the Torah of don't ever let them inside. Again, another example of who's in and who's out. And this is and think about the question they're bringing up on this day. This day that they're settling these issues, the question they're talking about is the same one we're talking about. Who's a Jew? Who's in and who's out? And they even discuss this important question of really intermarriage and conversion and accepting people. So Rabban Gamliel, who again, remember, he's still always there. Rabban Gamliel said you are forbidden to come to the community. Rabbi Yehoshua says you are permitted to come to the community. We're back to where we started, but all right. So what I want to point out with this story is the reason that I love the story, and I have a phrase here I wanted to point out, is that this story as a whole, and this is why I think it's so important that we as Reformed Jews are able to read and understand these stories, is because we have a particular lens and wisdom that we need to bring to it. And this story is about inclusion. And there is an affirmative statement by the rabbis here. There's no disagreement on this point, and I know it's a very bold statement to say, but I think I've backed it up, that Torah is increased when we remove the guard, when we add more benches, when we collect more opinions, when we welcome in converts. That the point of the story is we should open the doors wide for people to have access to Torah. And it's always a good idea when more and more people have access to Torah. So some questions I want to leave you with, and I'm going to take some of your questions because we got like 5 minutes. Actually, we have negative 5 minutes. But I want to leave you as you think about this story, how have we as individuals, as a community, as a movement, and as a people added or removed barriers to Judaism and Torah? And what can we do about that? How can we increase Torah through inclusion? How can we have more people come in? And everyone sits around like this and says, you teach me your Torah. And so any questions and comments that people want to add about the study of rabbinic text, the story in particular, we can take like 5 minutes to comment, but then I'll hang around if people still want to chat. So, yeah, everybody sees why this is my favorite story?
Yeah. All
right, yeah.
I'm not answering your question. I'm
telling
you, Ben, that you are born to this work.
Yes.
Yes.
And you are a superb teacher.
Where's Rabbi Gersh? Okay, did you hear that?
I'll email you.
Yes, ma'am.
Well, I'm confused.
Me too.
Because I understand that inclusion wins out, and it's very, very good. But then what was that whole thing about the white jugs and the ash?
That's a great.
Yeah, I think the reason the narrator came in and said it's not true, they said it to put his mind at ease, is that, one, there's a lot of value to comforting someone who's clearly been dealt a severe blow. And, and we had an interesting, this was a really great discussion of that, if Rabban Gamliel is concerned about integrity, that's not bad. Maybe it's not bad. Maybe he didn't do that wrong, but the narrator comes in and says, I'm sorry, I cannot abide by this point anymore. So, but yeah, I like that we had we had a more positive view of Rabban Gamliel than I was assuming that we would come in here. I can bring you more stories on him sometimes.
We were talking about throwing the doors open, taking the guard away, putting in more benches. Where are the women?
There's one, and she's participated in that, but you're right.
They're asking all the important questions.
Oh, yeah.
I'll decide to come to the wife. I'm not what the answers are.
Maybe reformulate your question a little bit. Are you asking why it didn't dawn on them that, there's a statement by Confucius of women hold up half the heavens?
Yeah, at what point did it become an all-boys club?
It's a boy, yeah, I mean, it's a boys club now. There's a handful of, there's another section I want to do that there are women named in rabbinic literature. That one, it's unusual. You notice that Elazar ben Azariah's wife is never given a name other than Elazar ben Azariah's wife. There's something really interesting that can be learned from the times that the Talmud points out that look, if you're asking why it didn't dawn on them, I'd say for the same reason that it didn't dawn on our ancestors who wrote the Torah that slavery wasn't a great idea, right? And that you can, it's easy for us to, it's very easy for us to look back and judge mistakes made by others, especially regarding the time in which they lived. But that doesn't, we need to be very forceful in saying that, yeah, that was a mistake and that's not good. But yeah, it's tough. It's really, it's something that always nags me and I have in the back of my mind, even when, if you read these stories long enough, like, eventually the rabbis become your friends. But, like, I had a history teacher who said, yeah, all my friends are dead. And, it's always, it grates on me. It's always in the back of my mind of some of the more offensive statements they say.
But this teaches also that it's okay to admit that you were wrong.
Yeah.
And we have, over the course of the last 2,000 years, admitted that we were wrong.
That's what I told the kids in religious school this morning, that, Rashi, the very famous Torah commentator, he does not hesitate to say when he doesn't know. He writes it right in his Torah commentary. I have no idea what this means. And I think that's probably the most valuable lesson I've taken from him.
Yeah.
Well, also with women, at this particular time, they were definitely, their physiology determined what they did. They no birth control, so they were very much taking care of the children and taking care of the heart at home and didn't have time to do it.
The other thing is these guys weren't making any money. And if you wanted to be a scholar, especially like Akiba, when he went off for 7 years or whatever to study, and he had just got married, well, who's going to support his life? They worked. Those women were the ones in a lot of Jewish history who made the money. They worked. They took care of the home, and that was very good. To them, that was good work and honorable. I don't know if many women wanted to be the men, or the men wanted to be the women. It was their culture to do it that way.
And I think it's still that way in some
organizations. If you want to study all day, a woman or a wife has to have a job and work.
Who was it that said that history is written by the winners?
But if you choose that...
Several people. All right, last two, and then I want to dismiss the people that were supposed to leave 15 minutes ago, but yeah.
No, mine is kind of a side question for
Yeah.
you. As you, Ben, are now the student, and you ask questions of your teachers, are you running into this multiplicity of opinions or interpretations?
Yeah, I'm definitely someone who, I'm definitely an oversharer, and I definitely try to gather as much information as I can. So, I've been talking to a lot of my teachers that, ideally I would love to, my, dream job would be to teach at HUC, and I've been talking to a lot of my professors there, and I said, some of whom are rabbis and some not, and I'm asking them all the same question, which is, how is being a rabbi, this work that you're not having a congregation, right, how does your rabbinic training contribute to your career and who you are, and how does that work? And I'm asking a whole bunch of them because I want to know everybody's angle and opinion, and, I can't just have one rabbi anymore. There are rabbis I go to for, I empathize with the student. I don't like the way he did it. I would never go to one of my rabbis and say, by the way, I like so-and-so, Gersh is way better than you are, and his opinion is, obviously like this. It's just the truth. Oh, no. I don't lie. I don't ever lie. Everybody's got different rabbis for different things, right? Again, like I said, this is one of the angles of Torah that I really love. If you had a different student rabbi would come in here and could probably do this with Tanakh in a way that I would never dream or be able to do, right? It's just not my angle. There are people who could do Kabbalistic texts and Midrash and Musar and ethical texts and do this thing. This is just the one I'm passionate about. So it's good to have rabbis from all over the place. Again, the point is to increase Torah. The more teachers of Torah there are in the world, the better. All right, there was one more over here, but then... No, I think I'll let everybody go, and if you want to mob and chalk for me afterwards, that's also okay with me. So thank you guys. Oh, God, no, that's the opposite of the... Oh, no, I failed if that's the day.
No, no, no,
Oh, my
no,
gosh.
no.